You should have it so the Mog's pom pom is blocking Venom's crotch. So it's like, it's like even more. Oh, what? That's so funny. Is that censored?
There we go.
Oh god, that's funny.
It's just his giant venom dick just right there.
Yeah, just blurbed out. Censored.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Gaming Effect. We're here with episode 15, the social media culture episode. I'm your co-host, Alex, aka Soldier First Class.
And I am Corey, aka Dookie03.
And, yeah. So, thanks for all the support on the last episode. I know it had been a couple months, and I know you're probably going to be shocked that we're back so soon. But we have been able to record, actually, so we'll see how this goes. Don't forget to rate and share on all the websites, which are, at the moment, Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, and my YouTube channel. I say at the moment because I'm thinking about pulling SoundCloud. We're not really getting any viewership there, and it's actually cost me money to...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it actually does cost me money to have an account that is allowed to post more than just 2 episodes or whatever. So... if I'm not getting any traction there, probably just going to cut that short. Yeah. But otherwise, we'll still be on Spotify, iTunes, and my YouTube channel.
I've never been even on SoundCloud in my life, or known anyone who's used it personally.
I've only used it for this podcast. I've been on it before. It's a lot like any other kind of YouTube or Twitch or anything like that. It's more of a user platform than I think more than anything. I think there's major artists on it. I haven't really checked, but I think mostly it's kind of like a platform for people to kind of get their stuff out there that's not iTunes or Spotify.
Okay.
But, so we are going to have a little bit of a weird episode today because we're going to talk about stuff that I actually said I would probably never talk about again.
And it's because of me, to be fair.
Well, it is because of you, but really, it's because of me too. Because
it's your fault. You played the damn thing,
right? So, yeah. So I recently played the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo, and it was something that I had pretty much told myself I wasn't going to do.
Yeah. Why did you play it?
I guess what the real answer would be is that nostalgia got me. When they announced that the demo would be the Nibelheim reactor incident, I was like, I've always wanted to see that in 3D. I've always wanted to see that.
Yeah, just the area, hey?
Yeah, just Nibelheim, the reactor, the scene with Sephiroth, I know it was in Crisis Core, but obviously that's not the same because Genesis was there and it's this whole thing, and I don't really like Crisis Core anyway. So
yeah, I like Crisis Core, but I don't like the Genesis kind of stuff.
Right, in Genesis,
it's weird because there's some really dumb shit in Crisis Core, but then there's stuff I really like. I really would have liked. Honestly, because the best parts... Here's the weird thing. I don't like Cloud. In Final Fantasy VII and anything else, I do not like Cloud. In Crisis Core, I love Cloud. I feel that... if Crisis Core had a lot more, Cloud in it, seeing, young Cloud and stuff like that, before he was, all, better get Mako'd, he would... I think those bits were my favorite parts of Crisis Core, just seeing him as a young in training a soldier guy or whatever.
When he was being himself, that's right.
And I think that's why I like Crisis Core. And then I liked the when you're like because you're in the slums a little bit and stuff like that. Like I liked that part of it. I don't know. And the world building, like I don't know. Some of the world building I liked in it, but I didn't like the like all of a sudden fucking Angeal is a fucking dog face gargoyle. Like that was dumb as shit. Like there's a lot of really dumb stuff in that game.
Well, and it's like anything post original game is like really touch and go when it comes to like continuity, when it comes to like quality and stuff, and like I
what
think
do you mean dirge of Cerberus?
Fucking hell! That I actually looked at the Metacritic score for that game today to make a point in a group chat earlier, and
what is it? Do you know?
It's 59.
That's way too high. No, it is.
Agreed.
Seriously.
Dude, I think
it should be like a 30. I could see 39.
I want to say the user reviews were like a
you just about died slurping on your Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, I did. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that the user scores were like a 7.9 or something like that.
Oh, but it was like the critic scores that were...
Yeah, it was the critic scores that were really low. Like, okay, it's a 57 Metascore based on reviews. 7.9 for fan reviews, proving once yet again that Square Enix fans do not give a fuck about quality as long as it's covered with Final Fantasy VII.
Put like, that little sticker on there.
Like it's like Mario, Mickey Mouse, or Nike, dude. Like people will suck it off no matter what because it comes from Square Enix. Like I love the company too, but dude, like admit when something is fucking flawed for fuck's sake. Like that is such a
it's hard for me to say I like the company.
I know.
Like, I liked the company, but like
my problem is that we are in an age now where like you either have to love everything about something or you're a hater. And that's the problem I ran into with 7 Remake is because I was trying to be logical with people about this and say like, hey, I really liked the characters in Remake. I really liked
Barrett, that's the best Barrett we've ever gotten.
Right. Barrett was great. And knowing John personally, like I do, like it probably made me a little bit biased towards Barrett anyway. Excuse me.
I'm coming from a guy that, like, I'm not, like, a big Final Fantasy VII fan. Like, it's in my bottom 5 No, not my bottom 5 now. But probably like my bottom 10 Final Fantasy games. And Barrett is, like, one of the not good characters. Like, I don't like very many of the characters in Final Fantasy VII. Like, I like Tifa, I like Cid. That might be it. But like I didn't like Barrett. Like I felt like he had zero growth after Mount Corel. Is that his hometown, Mount Corel or something like that? Like he's just like has no growth. Is like barely ever mentioned again, and I don't know. I just didn't really like. It's not that I didn't like his character. No, I didn't like his character. I didn't dislike his character.
He has a lot more growth at the very end when they're talking about like all the people they've lost.
Yeah, but it's like,
but the growth is very sporadic. I'll give you that. Like you have the moment with Dyne, and you have like the moment on the airship when he's talking about losing his friends, and like those are two of the largest parts of his character growth. A lot of it is more focused on Cloud, but obviously he's the main character. So
But I didn't like him in 7, like at all.
I think the characterizations of everybody is actually much deeper and much better in Remake. But I feel like the story itself is obviously better in the OG for me. And that's my problem that I've run into with talking about it is because like I do love a lot of things about it, and that's the problem I have is that I love a lot of things about it. The characters, the music, the gameplay I love even. The loop was a little rough when it came to like exploration because there wasn't much. Like you could go down a hallway or go down another hallway, or there was like forced like shimmying segments and stuff that I didn't like, and like obviously it's for loading screens that are hidden and stuff like that. But
you
really
have that, man.
Right,
like
I agree.
PS4, like and for how small the world, the town is, the whole game technically takes place in a single fucking town or city.
Right.
But for how small it is, there's no excuses for that kind of stuff, right? Like the optimization wasn't there, and they've been working on it for so long,
right?
Too.
Now, like, and that's the thing, like,
could you imagine for a second, Final Fantasy VII Remake doesn't come out on PS4. Imagine for a second, Final Fantasy VII Remake, they take longer to make it. They make it an actual remake. It's the actual full game, and it's a PS5 launch title. Like, dude, that would be dope. That would have sold a fuckload of PS5s.
Oh yeah.
That would have like reinvigorated the franchise. You know what I mean? And,
right.
Like if they would have just waited, had that extra quality, had the actual fucking full game instead of releasing a fucking fraction of disc one for $70, $90.
I see why they could and couldn't do that. My thing though is like, okay, because I love so much of it, it's hard for me to be able to criticize it without people being like, you're just a hater. Mm-hmm. But as soon as I say like, I loved this, and this, but I really just didn't like this, everybody's like, well, you fucking hate the game. Just go play the OG purist and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, it's not like that. Like, but these people wanted to cancel me over that opinion, or that I don't like Kitase and Nomura's style of writing. I never have. I probably never will. Like,
yeah,
I take that back. It's not that I never liked their stuff, because obviously I like Final Fantasy VIII. Yeah, we like 8. We did 3 episodes of a podcast on it. Mm-hmm. Completely done by Kitase and Nomura.
But again, it's like...
And even Motomu Toriyama. I have liked some of his stuff. I like Final Fantasy X. But when you look at their body of work past 10, 13 is probably one of the most divisive titles in the entire franchise.
Yeah.
15, which was started by Nomura, and ended
greatest
up being
fishing game of all time.
Yeah, ended up being a Tabata baby, which sucked because that guy got the shit end of the deal. Like, you know, it just
What games did he make?
Tabata. Mm-hmm. He actually did Crisis Core. He did Crisis Core. He did. I think he did Final Fantasy Type 0.
I never played that one.
And he also did 15. I would like it but he wasn't the director of 15 until like halfway through development.
Yeah, he was like, you guys are taking too fucking long, give it here. Right. He was that guy, basically.
He was given a deadline, and they're like, you have to get it out by this date. And he's like, okay. And they're like, well, thank you, you're fired.
Yeah.
It's like...
That's too bad, man.
Yeah, it's...
So I think the problem, and in Final Fantasy VII R, it's worse than this, but... when it comes to Final Fantasy VIII and original Final Fantasy 13, because I don't know, did they do 13.2 as well? I'm gonna doubt it because 13.2 is fucking good, actually.
I think Motomu Toriyama did, but I don't know if the other two were involved with it.
Okay, so when it comes to Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy 13, I honestly think the story itself, other than there's one spot in 13 that just destroys it all, but the story itself in 8 and 13 is actually good, but the way they're told is really bad.
Right. That's the problem I had with 8 originally, was that to get the context of everything that's going on, you have to read information that's not directly or explicitly given to you. Yeah. You have to find
and look at the what were they, the fucking data pads or something in Final Fantasy 13.
The data logs,
so it's the same kind of idea.
Right.
The only thing that ruined, like, 13 has a great concept of the story. Like, these gods that like put this curse on you that give you these powers, and you have to find out like what you have to do in favor of, like, in servitude of these gods. And they
can, by the way, they can talk the whole time.
That's the thing. That's what I mean. That's what ruins it, right? If that wasn't a part of it, the story would have been really good. Like, that as a concept. If they had made a fucking movie and that was like the plot of a movie, like these guys get cursed and will die if they don't figure out and complete the task that these gods need them to do. Like, that's a fucking cool concept.
Right.
You have to admit.
But then you find out that they can talk, and you're like, well, why didn't they just tell me what they wanted me to do?
Yeah, exactly. Because they obviously want that to be done, so why wouldn't they just tell you? Right. I did a whole video on Final Fantasy 13. It was my most popular video for a really long time. But yeah, that ruins it all, unfortunately. If they would have left that part out, it would have honestly, the story itself would have been good, but again, the way it's told is absolutely terrible.
Right,
I gotta
and
get
it's like
this remote out of my hand, or I'm gonna be clicking shit all
I
night.
know, I could tell you were doing it. It's like I just don't like the presentation style that they have, and the reason is like, okay, these books come out for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it's like you read the Ultimania and it says Zack's alive. And in the game, Zack's alive at the end. And you're like, okay, so that means Zack's alive. But then you have a entire section of the fan bases that's like, that doesn't want to believe that. That doesn't want to believe that for some reason. And then when you're like, no, that's what they said, like, read the book, it confirms it. And then they come out in interviews and they say, yeah, he's alive. And then everybody's like, no, that's not true. He can't be alive, blah, blah, blah. That's not how the original story goes. And it's like, we all know that. And I don't know if this is some kind of copium or something that you're on, but if the devs are saying it, it's in the book that they wrote, and it's in the game that they made, clearly it's a fact. And then there's it's this whole thing where, like, nobody wants to believe something because it's like, okay, you have your purists who are like...
they secretly know it's bad, so they're trying to do all these, like, mind tricks to themselves to, like, convince themselves that, no, it's gonna be good, okay? Don't worry about it.
I promise by the end of Game 3 it's gonna be good. And I get it. I understand.
Just give us another $140 and it's gonna get good.
Because after I played Remake and I saw the ending, I was like, I was in a state of, well, they know what they're doing, right? Like, this is gonna be good, I guess. Like, maybe
I would have picked.
And then as the time went on, I was like, this is gonna be a fucking dumpster fire, and I'm gonna have to sit here and watch one of my favorite games of all time be turned into a fucking
flames
joke.
And it's like fanfic.
And that was me like months ago when I was, years ago when I was trying to. It seems like just yesterday when I was trying to talk myself into liking it. So I was still making videos, I was still making theories, I was still like
smashing the microphone.
I was coming up with ways to talk about the game in a positive light, and then you'd had all these people that would come in and be like, oh no, you're wrong, blah, 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 and then I just started getting fucking frustrated. And then that's when Alex started coming out and not Soldier, and that's when I started making meme videos, basically, about the fucking interviews and everything else, and I was like, I literally made a meme where it was Hojo and Lucretia, like, hugging, and it was Katase and Nomura. I had their names across it. It was Katase and Nomura, and then Nojima's script on Vincent. So it was basically like, Vincent was getting fucked by Nomura and Katase, and that's how bitter I was with the fan bases. I was just memeing the shit out of it. And then, like, and those were some
toxic fans.
Those were some of my most viewed videos, right? Like, the ones I was memeing the fuck out of it, and it's because I was just so tired of not only trying to convince myself that I liked it, but then having all of these people come into my comment section and be like, "No, you're fucking stupid. The devs wouldn't ruin the story like that. They wouldn't make Zack alive.
They already have.
Blah blah blah." And then,
even if Zack isn't alive, they've already ruined it.
And then the hard part about it is that when you try to be like, okay, yeah, maybe that's true, and then they come out with the interviews and they're like, no, he's alive. And everybody's like, well, yeah, of course he's alive, because that's like totally what we wanted, and that's, more Zack, totally, you know? And it was almost like revisionist history a little bit.
It's just people being fake, too.
We're the same people that were like, oh my god, I hate this so much, why is Zack alive? Or, no, there's no way Zack's alive, that'd be stupid. Now, all of a sudden, now that they say he's alive, everybody's like, well, it could work, you know, even though he died in the original story, it could totally work. And I'm like, if it works, I'm happy for those people. It doesn't work for me. And
I don't know how it works.
I just realized, like, hey, dude, not every game is for everybody. And if it turns out that like this is the direction they want to go with it, I always have the original. It sucks because the remake will always be attached to it. But it's like, I've lived for years with Crisis Core, Advent Children, and fucking Dirge of Cerberus being attached to it.
Yeah.
I can live with the remake being attached to it after
100%.
After it's all said and done. But my point is that, like, we as a fan base have to be so much better about what we do. And I will admit, wholeheartedly, I am just about as much as to blame as everyone else for the way I was acting, the way I felt, what I was doing at that time, like obviously with the meme videos, like if I could go back and do it again, I would just be honest with myself and honest with everyone else. But I was
make better meme videos, rip on them harder.
I was coping so hard with what I had witnessed. And the bad part is I got an early review copy. So I was sitting on this for a week.
Right. I remember. Yeah, you said
I was sitting on this information for a week before everybody else got to play it. And I was thinking, like, how is the world going to react to this? Yeah. How are people going to see this game when it's all said and done? Because I knew how I felt.
Did you do a review of it?
I did.
Okay, I couldn't remember if you did or not.
The caveat with that is that I was not allowed to talk about the ending per contract.
Oh my god, and that's like the biggest thing.
Right. So I could say that I felt the writing was a little off, but I couldn't talk about the ending itself until like a week or two later. Like I had to wait. And that was another hard thing for me because I had to sit there and make videos as if I wasn't pissed off about it, like that I wasn't upset. And then when I thought people were going to be upset, there was a large amount of people that were upset, and there still is. Like,
yeah, there is.
I think
all my friends, all the people that I know personally, like in real life, that were huge Final Fantasy VII fans and still are, did not like it. They hated it.
Right, and
every single one of them.
I feel like to say that the majority, and maybe the majority of the fan base does like it. I don't know. I can't speak for the majority of the fan base. I honestly don't know. But I will say this. There is a large amount of people that did not like it. And it was the ending. Because there was a lot of people like me. I loved pretty much everything about the game, minus like the padding and the...
very padded.
Very padded. And the, like... The whispers, obviously, like, those were completely fucking unnecessary. And the fact that Sephiroth shows up, like, every hour.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
Like, I get it. He is a character that is not a mystery anymore. I get that. He's not Darth Vader anymore. He's not Jaws anymore. Like, but I'll say this. So, there is a clip out there now of Rebirth, and it's the Midgar Zolom fight. And at the end
you
of that,
to fight him?
Yes, you get to, you got to fight him in the original. So,
right, because he chases you.
He's the swamp monster.
Yeah.
At the end of that clip, okay, in the original game, after you get through the swamp, you get to the other side, and there's like a small cutscene, right? Mm-hmm. And that cutscene shows the snake.
Did Sephiroth do this?
Yeah, it's one of the most famous lines in the entire game is right there. Did Sephiroth do this, right? And that was to set up how powerful and how mysterious this guy was. Like, you did not know the length of power this guy had. So, like, the first time you even, like, really kind of see it is when you see the leader of Shinra impaled on a fucking sword, and you're like, if Sephiroth is willing to kill the leader of the world, who is this guy? Then, and this was after you got through the bloody, like, area of, Shinra HQ, and then you're like, what? This is like a horror movie. Oh, right,
because he's like dragging bodies around, right?
It's like
blood smears all over the place.
It's what kind of horror movie villain is this, right? Mm-hmm. You see the president impaled on a sword, then you leave.
And isn't that the first time you see him too?
You don't even see him.
Oh.
You just see the sword. So then
you don't see him impaling the president?
No, that's something they showed in Remake. But not in the original. That's where I started having problems with the remake.
I thought they did show him kill him, and then
that's what you don't see Sephiroth till like 3 to 5 hours into the game.
Oh, I thought that was okay. I thought that's where you first.
So anyway, you get past that
it like 3 times.
You get past that. You get to the swamp, and you go through the swamp, and then you see at that cutscene the Midgar Zolom up there on the tree, and you're like, did Sephiroth do this? And it's like, holy shit, this guy is fucking powerful, right?
Yeah.
In Rebirth, you fight the Midgar Zolom, and at the very end, after you've defeated it, it pulls Cloud down into the water. He's drowning. Sephiroth comes out of nowhere and saves him. And then you see him kill the Zolom and throw it on the tree. There's no mystery. There's no like.
It's kind of like
I get it. You're seeing him kill the snake, so it's like you're still seeing that power. But the whole thing with Sephiroth is that it's alluded to how powerful he is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get spoon fed.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. It's like the whole thing with like modern films where like and like even like TV shows and stuff, like nobody respects their audience anymore. Like they think their audience are like idiots, so they have to over explain or like show they have to over explain it or like show it. Look at here, this is how it is, guys. Like it's always everything's like that now, unfortunately.
And somehow in the Rebirth remake, blah blah blah, they do both. They spoon feed you Sephiroth like he's a fucking crazy ex-girlfriend that's stalking you. But then there's other things that they don't tell you, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, what is this?
Because they don't know. They probably don't even know what they're doing, man.
The bad part is, and we as a fan base need to take as much responsibility as the devs do, but it's because of the way they do interviews and the way they talk about things. Like, an interviewer will ask them a question, and instead of saying, like, we can't answer that at this time, they come up with some long, like, explanation that alludes to everything, but they don't really say it. And then you're like...
then it's translated too, right?
Right, it's translated, so there's a lot of stuff that, maybe it's being mistranslated, or maybe it's being translated by a fan who is biased and maybe giving answers that aren't real, or a little bit tweaked, or something like that, and it's like... okay, what do you believe? Then you have a book come out and it says this and blah, blah, blah. Not to rehash, but the point is like, there's a lot of things with this game that have come out that are conflicting. And it causes a rift in the fan base. And you've got one side that's like, Zack's not dead, or Aerith's gonna die still. And then you've got another sect of the fan base that's like, no, we want Aerith to live, we want Zack to live, because we want everybody to have a happy ending. And it's like, then there's the other set where it's like, we just want the original story expanded. Mm-hmm. And for me, this is my cutoff point. If you do not kill Aerith, where she dies, when she dies, and why she dies, at the moment you're supposed to, I cash out.
Oh, you already cashed out.
Because that is the point of no return for me. Yeah. Like, unless I get a review copy, I am probably not going to buy this game until one of my friends is like, hey man, or maybe you should play it.
I'll watch it on YouTube.
Right. I'm like, maybe I should play it,
or whatever.
If the people that I trust with story, because they know how I feel about the game, so they're going to know immediately, like, hey, you should definitely play this game because, you just should, right? Not to spoil it for me. Not to spoil it for me, but just to say, hey, you may want to check this out because it might actually be what you were looking for. And if it is, I'll admit I was wrong. I'm 100% willing to admit I was wrong if it turns out that they pull it off. I don't have faith purely for the reason that the last 10 years of Square Enix have not been the greatest.
Yeah. And what they did with the first one already. Right.
And it's
to me, like, I just can't justify spending money on like one fucking sixth of a game that's not one of my favorite games in the first place. Right. And they made it worse in like every way other than wall market. Like everything is worse than the original, other than, like you said, the characters are better done, and wall market is the only thing that like was extra that they did a better job of, I feel.
See, I can't agree with that because I actually did like the way they did Midgar for the most part. The forced loading, the padding, stuff like that, I obviously didn't like, and I said that earlier, but yeah, I felt like seeing those locations come to life in the way that they brought them to life, and the way that they like added context to certain things, like I don't know, like people talking in the streets, and you can hear them talking about at certain parts of the game. You can hear them talking
like
about
what just happened. Or like the part where there's 3 hours of you and Aerith walking through that little crane arm
Oh,
spot
God.
that took 2 seconds, and she keeps talking. God, I hate Aerith so much.
or rehashing the fucking sewers twice when it was
right.
when it was 2 screens in the original.
Yeah, dude, I didn't like.
And you know another thing I hate, and it's a weird bitch, but it's something that I really hated. They put these switches in the game, and you have to hold triangle to open them. Why can't you just press triangle? Why does it have to be a fucking? I have to hold the button down, or I have to hold R2 and L2, or I have to. Don't put QTEs where they don't make sense. Like, I don't want fucking QTEs everywhere. And that's one of the things I had a problem with the Rebirth demo, is there's a part where you're crawling across the fucking ground as Cloud to get to Sephiroth, and you have to hit L2, wait, R2, wait, L2, and then you have to keep doing that, and if you don't fucking do it, the whole scene just stays still. Sephiroth doesn't move, the villagers don't move, you just...
What?
Yeah, you just crawl, and then they move.
It's just padding, dude.
It's padding, and I fucking hate that shit.
So they can say, no, you don't understand. It's not just one town of the game.
It's for the immersion.
You're getting a 30 to 40 hour experience here. You're paying the $70 to $90 for a 30-hour experience, not just one single town.
Remake was about 40 to 50 hours for me. I feel like it could have been done in 25 to 30, and it would have been perfect.
I feel like it could have been done in 3. It was!
You cut the whispers, you cut the Sephiroth bullshit. Like, okay.
Could have been done in 5, man.
Cut the ending of the game. Leave it off at motor, where you're running through, where you're on the motorbike, doing that fight. That would have been a fucking awesome ending. I was hyped that entire ending of that fight until I got to the actual ending, and I was like, fuck.
And then the first boss from Kingdom Hearts shows up.
The fucking giant Heartless. Which, I don't, you know what? I get so fucking frustrated when people are like, it's nothing like that thing. Bullshit. It is literally that thing. The only difference is it doesn't have a giant fucking heart in its chest.
Dude, as soon as I saw that thing, I was like, oh, it's that fucking the first boss from the first Kingdom Hearts game.
Dude, people are so willing to fucking jump in front of a bullet for Nomura. It fucking kills me. Yeah. And, like, everybody was like, oh, it's not Nomura. Maybe it's not Nomura. I don't care if it was or not. That fucking thing is a Heartless, and you can't convince me otherwise. But all of this to say, honestly, is that I loved a lot of what Remake presented. As a Final Fantasy VII fan back in the day, I love a lot of what they did. And it's when they stay faithful or remotely faithful that I absolutely love the game and I have fond memories of it. It's when they deviate so much that it is unrecognizable is when I have the problem. Yeah. Because there were things that I thought they did really well to recontextualize. The black-cloaked people that were the clones. The idea that Sephiroth is fucking with Cloud as early as he was. Because technically he was.
Yeah.
In the original game, he was fucking with Cloud. But you didn't really know that.
You didn't know what was going on, but something was going on.
Something was happening to your character. Yeah. They made it more explicit in the remake, and I'm glad they did to an extent. Like the feather floating down from the sky, that was a really nice touch.
Yeah, that they could have left.
But when you leave the reactor, there's a scene, and this scene bothers me so much because of what it actually does. You're walking through the streets, and there's all these flames around you, and it's kind of like you're having a flashback in real life. I would almost say it's like a PTSD flashback kind of thing where like you're in the world, but to you and your vision, you're seeing things that aren't there. So like Cloud seeing like Nibelheim burning and he's following Sephiroth through the streets. And like, if you're a new player, you're like, who the fuck is this guy? Right.
Yeah.
And then probably 30 seconds to a minute later, you catch up with Sephiroth and flames surrounding him or whatever, and he's talking to you, and Cloud's like, you're dead, there's no way you're alive, and then he says the one fucking line in the game that bothers me probably the most, I killed you with my own hands. And the reason that bothers me is because Cloud would not have known that at that time. Cloud, when you go to the calm flashback in the original game...
Unless Cloud, in this version, didn't even get Mako poisoning.
No, he still did, because he still says he's a soldier. Like, he still has the whole Zack thing going on, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Because then there's a part at the playground where Aerith mentions Zack, and it, like, phases out, and Zack doesn't hear Cloud doesn't hear Zack's name, because he has, like, one of those moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see her mouth say it, but he doesn't hear it, and you don't hear it. Well, anyway, at the calm flashback in the original, Cloud, like, finishes the story and is like, and that's it. And they're like, wait, what happened to Sephiroth? Like, what happened? And he's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fuzzy or whatever he says. But in Remake, he's like, no, I killed you with my own hands. Like,
yeah.
Why are you here? And it's like, no, you're leading the player too much. Like, leave Sephiroth out of that scene. If you want to have, like, a flash...
Leave it to speculation, man.
Right.
Like,
don't spoon-feed it. Leave it to, this is Sephiroth, but we don't know who he is yet. And then when Cloud catches up to him in that alley, he's not there, but there's a black feather.
Yeah.
And then you keep doing that, and you keep leading it up to it.
Give us the underboob. Don't show us the tits right off the bat.
Give us the side boob.
Yeah. I'm an underboob guy, personally.
Okay.
But side boob's good, too.
It's like, I feel, and maybe it's because I'm an original player, and I'm not seeing it through the lens of a new player. It's like character fatigue. I don't want to see Sephiroth every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, and then literally right after that is the scene with Aerith, and then Sephiroth shows up in that scene too.
Yeah.
And it's the same scene as the Whispers showing up first. And it's like, dude, I get it. You're setting up a mystery with the Whispers, but leave fucking Sephiroth out of it. If this is supposed to be an actual remake. Now, I'm under the impression, to me, this is my opinion.
Such a cash grab, man.
This is not a remake to me. This is
no, it isn't.
It's either
a reboot.
It's either a reboot where, yes, they're respecting the OG in certain aspects, but they're doing their own story, and that's what they want to go with. The problem is, I don't know what the direction is. I don't know what their goal is with this game.
I don't think they do either.
Sometimes I wonder. And I know we're not supposed to know exactly what's going on. That's kind of the point. But at the same time, all the arguments are kind of null and void, because it's like, okay, you say wait till the third game to find out if it's good or not, but I can grade each part individually by how good I thought it was.
Exactly.
And I did not think the ending of Remake was good. But again, those are things that I've voiced before. But I loved most of the game. And that's why it pisses me off when people are like, just go play the original Purist if you didn't like the ending. Shut the fuck up, please. I beg you to shut the fuck up. Like,
I didn't like most of it. So, two things. It's funny, because again, I didn't grow up like playing Final Fantasy VII. I didn't grow up like loving it, so I don't really have any nostalgia for it. I have nostalgia for it in the sense that it's a pre-rendered background, like early PS1 game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it because I played a lot of those, right? So I have nostalgia in that aspect. But for the game itself, the story, the characters, I don't really have any nostalgia. So it's always funny because like the way, like when you talk about it, and then the way you interpreted things, the way when you played it and continue to play it through the original, and the way I perceived things when I played through it and play through it are like so different in some spots. So like when you were at the part where the Midgar Zolom is like spiked on that thing, and the way you said it, you're like, did Sephiroth do this? And when I got to that part, all I think of is like the memes. So it's like, did Sephiroth do this? Like, that's how I read it. It's like, It's like completely different like meaning
Yeah.
to me than it would be to like somebody that played it back in the day, right?
Right.
Same with like even like I don't know if anyone can take this part seriously, but when they're like if you were to say this guy are sick. Like, to me it's like this guy are sick. Like to me the things I like, the reasons I like Final Fantasy 7 are for like its dopey charms, whereas like the reason like people that loved it back in the day love Final Fantasy 7 is because of like they enjoyed the story, the characters, the world and stuff like that. And like to me like those are like the things I don't enjoy about it for the most part. The world I think I kind of like, but the characters and the story I've never really been a big fan of. But it's like that dopey, because it was like to me that was like maybe like Final Fantasy 8 and 9 had it, but Final Fantasy 7 really still leaned into that Final Fantasy 5, like super fun at some parts, like did not take itself too seriously. And that's my perspective of Final Fantasy 7, and the things I like from it are those things, not so much like the serious elements of it. And the other thing I was going to say, and it wasn't so much this isn't so much about the original, but the what's this one you want to call Rebirth?
Yes.
So I honestly thought after they saw like kind of the chaos that came out of Remake and like the split in the fan base, I honestly thought they were going to be like, okay, that was a mistake, sorry guys, and just like tell the next part of the story like how it was, you know what I mean? That's what I was fully expecting from Rebirth, and that's obviously not what we got. But the main reason I wanted to talk about this on the podcast is because when I watched the trailer, I honestly thought it looked really good. Like I thought they did like a pretty good job, and I hated Remake. Like I hated the combat like a lot. Like I really hated the combat. I hated that it was basically Final Fantasy 13 game, like other than the like not the combat, but the game everywhere else to me was Final Fantasy 13 with a Final Fantasy 7 skin over.
I mean, to be fair, it is literally all of the 13 creators on this project. I mean, it's Remake to me, and a lot of people are going to disagree with this. Remake is literally 13 with a 7 skin on it. I mean,
yeah, it is.
I will say that 13 is more point A to point B than Remake is. But if you look at the design style, it is literally the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And I shit, now I don't remember what I was gonna say. Fuck, dude.
You were talking about how it was like obviously not the combat, but the design of the game was like 13.
Yeah. So yeah, there wasn't really anything I liked in 7. I thought the graphics were good, which is weird because the main bitch about the main complaint, I should say, that a lot of the people had was like the graphics were shit.
The textures.
But I'm not really like a graphics whore, right?
Yeah.
So like seeing these characters, like I thought the character models looked really good. The backgrounds looked really good. And
the problem,
like that.
The problem I had with the textures was like there was a scene where the plate had dropped. And you're supposed to be like looking out on this expansive horizon or whatever. And instead of it being like 3D and rendered, it was literally a pre-rendered background. And it looked
like a JPEG.
And it looked fucking awful. And then there was like a door on Cloud's apartment that was just completely not loading. It just looked like a blob. And it's like, you know, you've made so much attention to detail to everything else, and then something that's like staring you in the face and is supposed to be like this gorgeous, expansive, like destruction scene looks like dog shit. And it took me out of it a little bit. And I'm not really a super graphics whore either. Like obviously I still love the original and I still play games to this day that aren't graphically beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because of how like close they are to each other that it's so jarring.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean?
It didn't bother me.
But it's like, almost like if you took the original character models and threw them in Remake.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm
be
saying?
jarring. Yeah, I see that.
It's
do you ever
like
notice
that.
grapes in video games? Like grapes always look bad in video games.
There was a giant meme for Endwalker for 14 because the grapes in 14 looked fucking terrible.
Dude, the grapes always look bad.
They were literally
it's
like
impossible.
Like a weird,
like a cone.
Yeah,
grapes. Grapes
so
either look
bad.
like a cone or they look like a cone with
They
bumps.
literally released like a hot fix or an update that was literally one of the taglines was "We fixed the grapes."
And it was even like, dude, developers, don't put fucking grapes in your games. Dude, nobody can make grapes look
What's
good.
even funnier about that is that the original model for the grapes was used as a giveaway at FanFest this year.
That would be cool.
They gave away the grapes, like the actual blocky looking grapes.
Yeah.
As a fucking, it was hilarious, dude. That's why I love the CPU3 team, because they do not give a fuck. They embrace the memes, they embrace all the dog shit talk, like they do all of it, and it's fucking great.
Dude, but yeah, grapes. Love grapes, not in video games.
No.
Don't put them in your games. But yeah, no, I thought it was gonna be a return to form. But when I saw the trailer, the new trailer, I didn't like, I don't think, any of the mini games in Final Fantasy.
Really?
Like they were really bad.
In Rebirth or
in the original?
Okay, I was gonna say, I was like,
and they looked fucking good in Rebirth.
Here's the thing, and
I tweeted
this today, and I said, if there's one thing that replaying the intermission DLC for Remake has shown me, is that Square is either fucking phenomenal and make the best mini games they've ever made,
like Blitzball,
or they're fucking dog shit, like the rest of Final Fantasy X's mini games. Because holy shit, they do a Fort Condor mini game in the DLC, and it's fun. You have units.
Oh, is it?
You have like each unit has a strength. Like you have your
is
attack
it like
units.
a tower defense game basically? Because the original was kind of like tower defense game.
It's basically a tower defense game, but you have attack units, defense units, and
magic
support units.
Oh,
and it's really fucking fun. It's really good.
I believe it. They all looked really good. Like, honestly,
yeah.
And even the worst one was like, remember the VR fighting one?
Yeah,
that looks so good. Because they're using a better version of like the OG like models, right?
Yeah, it looks like an HD-ified version.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait till they put those in OG, like somebody mods those very models in OG.
Oh, I'm sure, dude. Sunamods does.
There's already some like really
some
nice
really
ones.
Good mods.
But I want those ones in particular,
right?
That's just so cool.
But yeah, that's the thing, dude. Like,
I can't imagine the Moogle ones any good, because that was all Moghouse was fucking. They're all garbage in 7. Moghouse is like, you can't even call it a mini game.
I wonder if they're gonna redo the submarine one.
The submarine one was the only one I kind of liked. The only one I kind of liked.
You would like that one.
I don't know if like's a strong word. It was the only one I didn't hate.
Yeah,
I should say.
So that's the thing, dude, and that's why I hate this right now. This game comes out as of this recording in 20 days, right?
Oh, it's coming out that soon.
Yeah, this is what I hate. I have a lot of pride, and the problem with that is that if I play this fucking game, I'm gonna have to eat crow, because I said to everyone, I'm not going to play this game. I refuse to play this game. Now granted, this was a year and some change ago, but I made all these statements like, no, I'm done. I'm done talking about it. I'm done playing it. I'm done blah, blah, blah. And then I see the fucking trailer with the goddamn minigames.
The trailer looked good, man. And I
the only problem I have with the trailer is that they show the goddamn whispers again. And I'm
oh, yeah.
And the only other problem...
What looked fucking good in the trailer? When the... I don't know what it's called. Like, is it the City of the Ancients?
Yes.
When it was like building itself and stuff.
Yes.
Like, oh my god, did that look good?
That looked dope as fuck.
Yeah, it did.
And that's what kills me, dude. I love all this shit. And then I think about
watch it on YouTube.
And I'm like,
that's all I'm gonna do.
I love all this shit, and I'm thinking like, I don't want to get sucked back in because I'm like,
just wait till it'll be free on PlayStation Plus. In like
because
2
I
months,
know
like the first one was.
I know if I get sucked back in, and they do what I hope they don't do, I'm gonna be in another state of wanting to fucking fight every motherfucker on the internet that talks shit to me, and I don't want to do it again. And that's my problem, man.
Just watch it on YouTube. Don't give them money. At the very least, I understand. Not give them money for this game.
I understand that, like, I can enjoy this on my own, and I never have to tell anybody that I do it. And but I'm gonna have to sit there and be like, I played this game, and now I can't fucking talk about it. But then I'm like, I should just talk about it because I'm fucking soldier first class. I'm on the internet all the time anyway. It's like, just fucking talk about it. I'm in a conundrum, okay? I'm in a fucking 30 midlife crisis here, where I'm like, here's a game that I've wanted my entire fucking life. And now I don't know if I want to fucking play it because not only do I have too much fucking pride, number 2, I don't want to get fucking heartbroken again. Number 3, I don't want to fucking listen to people be like, I fucking told you so. It's like, oh, god damn it.
To me, it's like you just don't want to support this either. Like, if they're fucking it up.
It's like, you're right. It's like I don't want to support it.
Do you play games on PC at all? Like, do you have a decent PC?
Oh yeah, dude. My PC that I built is like fucking a tank.
Listen, brother. You don't have to pay a dime for this game. I can hook a brother up.
I do, because it's not going to be on PC yet.
Oh, yeah. Well, just wait. Fuck. You don't need to play it right away. Who cares?
You know I can't do that.
You'll find out that it sucks for free, and then you can just play the minigames. Like, there's games that I don't like, that I keep on my, like, PS4 hard drive because I can just fire it up and play the minigames. I like, don't get me wrong, I love Final Fantasy X.
Blitzball, I know. I already know.
Play Blitzball all the time. I just fire it up and play Blitzball.
I already know. And it's like, dude,
your problem is you get FOMO. Like, you let the industry get to you.
I know. Like, but to be fair, it has worked out in my benefit when it came to the Elden Ring and all them, because then I actually got into the series and had a bunch of games I could play.
Yeah, so far. But
the problem is that, and this is such a weird issue to have as an adult. Like, I'm an adult, swallow my fucking pride, just play the goddamn game, whatever, right?
But do you want to support the guys that ruined what could have been, like, your, like, favorite game of all time?
Right, and that's the other thing. Like, do I take a risk of this game being fucking standing against everything I've stood for my entire life when it comes to storytelling? Or do I just fucking let it happen and let it roll off my back because it's a fun game?
That's still only going to be a half of a disc of a game that you're going to be paying $70 fucking dollars.
Well, see, that's the thing. The game is now open world, and it's going to end after fucking right. It's going to end after City of the Ancients. Like, I get that, but
yeah,
at least with this one,
right.
But at least with this one, it's going to feel like a full adventure. Because it's open world, it's got 3 continents. Like, you go to Wutai, by the way, Gilgamesh is in it.
Yeah, I saw that.
You go to 3 continents. You go to Wutai, the continent that Midgar is on, and you go to the other continent, which has Gold Saucer, which Gold Saucer's in it. Like, obviously because of all the mini games, like,
yeah,
all the way up to
how
City
long
of the
are they
Ancients
gonna
is there.
Dude, here's the thing, okay?
But I also worry about padding, because I'm like,
it's gonna be padded to the balls.
You've got all this stuff, but at the same time, that's a lot of ground to cover. So how much? I mean, this game's coming out 3 years after Remake, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, 4, I guess, technically.
Yeah, it's 4. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 4.
Because it was about March-ish when the first one came out.
It looks this good after 4 years, and it took them 5 years to do Remake. So I'm thinking, like...
Dude, what if they're done the whole story and they're just fucking...
there's
more
no
padding.
way.
Inject more padding and release it for $70.
Yeah. It's like, dude, I'm so conflicted, and I hate it because, like, I shouldn't feel this way. I feel like I should be, like, as hyped as everybody else, but there's a little voice in the back of my fucking head that's like, don't do it. Don't do it, soldier.
I'm the voice.
Don't do it. Like, just...
I'm the voice.
But at the same time, there's another
It'll be free on PlayStation Plus in 2 months like the first one was.
Probably.
That's how I played the first one.
But FOMO's gonna hit me, and you know it's going to, dude.
Just be strong. Have willpower for
I
this.
don't.
Just play something else. You know what? Plan to play something else when it comes out. Like, come up with a game. Fucking get the new Yakuza game, man.
I have the new Yakuza game.
Are you playing it? Oh, you're already playing it?
Yes.
Oh, well, get another game.
What do I look like? Money bags over here? No.
Well, you're gonna buy fucking a game you'll probably hate anyways.
I may not hate the game. I might hate the fucking ending again.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me too, is that I loved all of the game until the fucking ending. And then after the ending, it's funny, because I was like, this will be one of the last things I say, but it's funny because I was willing to look past the fucking crane stuff, the forced shimmying, all the stuff that, like, I didn't really like, but I was willing to put up with until the ending, and then I was like, you know what? That crane shit was bogus. That fucking that forced shimmy in that one spot, fuck that. Like, that's so stupid, you know? Like,
wait a minute.
My anger,
I got fucked.
My anger for the ending was like blinding me so bad that I was like, fuck this game, fuck everything in it. Like, fuck, you know, it's just it's funny how it's funny how you can feel. Dude, it's funny. So all you sports fans are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Corey, you might not get this one so much. It's like the Falcons in the Super Bowl in 2016. They were up 28-3 going into the third quarter. Or maybe it was going into the fourth. I don't remember. I try to block it out.
You guys have fourth quarters?
Yeah. So we ended up losing in overtime after being up 28-3. And during the whole first, like, 3 quarters of the game, I was like, fuck the Patriots. Falcons are going to win their first Super Bowl ever. This is going to be the greatest day of my life. And then we lost in overtime, and it became the worst day of my life. And I sat there and stared at a blank screen for 30 minutes because my friend turned the TV off. I was drunker than fuck. And I go upstairs and just throw up all over his yard.
You threw up?
Yeah, I was distraught as fuck. I was just fucking angry.
Fuck.
That's what the ending of Remake felt like.
That was what, when Oklahoma City Thunder lost to the fucking Golden State Warriors.
Right.
Yeah, that was me. I didn't fucking puke, though. Holy shit.
Well, I was drunk, so obviously.
That's funny.
Yeah, I was drunker than fuck. Because I was celebrating. I was like, yeah, we're gonna fucking win, and then we didn't. And I wanted and
puking in the grass.
And then I wanted
in the grass.
And then I wanted I wanted to die. But so I
think the thing is up until that ending, if you were able to look past the shortcomings, because I think you enjoyed more of the game than you hated at that point. And then once that ending hit, you were like, you know what? Fuck this game.
You're like, time to point out every flaw ever to the fan base. Like, that won't go wrong at all. But I will say this, and this is the final thing I'm going to say on it, because I feel like we do need to move on. But I will say this. When it comes to maturity about the whole situation, I did not handle it well. I did not handle my feelings about the devs very well. I did not handle my feelings about the fan base very well, whether it was warranted or not. A lot of what came not a lot. I will say about 50% of what came my way was deserved. In the argument department. Not the threats, not the cancellation, not the, people fucking shadow tweeting me and trying to get me canceled or get my sponsorships pulled or friends getting phone calls at their works and shit. Like, none of that shit was deserved. Like, nobody deserves that shit. Like, leave people the fuck alone.
Which leads us into our next topic.
Right, which leads us into our next topic. But it's like, I am as much at fault for about 50% of what happened to me as the fan base is.
So.
And I will say that because over the years I've been able to mature and get over it and realize that, like, hey, not every game is for me, and I'm okay with that now. Because like okay, Soulsborne. Before I started playing Soulsborne, they were not for me. And I eventually got into them and was like, okay, I'll give it a shot, right? Then I really got into them. But that's not every game. Like, not every game that's in the Soulsborne type is going to be for me, like Lords of the Fallen. I really wanted to like that game because I thought it was going to be, the next Dark Souls for me. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't. And I'm okay that people like the game. It's just not for me. And that's where I'm at with Remake.
There's games like that for me, but then there's games that I will openly shit on.
Right.
like I enjoy shitting on some games.
Right. And sometimes that's fun.
Nothing
and
wrong
it's okay.
With that.
It's like,
and that's why I don't think you deserved anything you got. Fuck them.
Well, I might have been a tad bit aggressive.
Nah, fuck them. They were aggressive first. Yeah, I know you. You're not the kind of, you know what I mean? You're not the kind of person that would push back. That would do that without being pushed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you pushed back.
But
fuck them.
The problem is that the way YouTube is and stuff like that. Like, a negative comment hits you way harder than a positive comment, in my opinion. Once you get to a certain point, because like all of the inadequacies that you see in yourself get reinforced by negative comments.
But that's like human evolution. Like we've evolved in order to improve ourselves, and that's all that is. And in order to improve upon ourselves, we focus on negative feedback because we see, okay, we can change this to make ourselves better. But if you see something from somebody you don't respect or give a fuck about or know, B, somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about, and C, somebody that's saying something that's not going to improve you or better you in any way, there's no point in giving any validation to it.
Right, and that's my problem, is because I started getting so many negative comments that I would start to feed off of them and not only add that spite and that anger to my next video, but even people that were positive towards me were starting to feel alienated by my attitude. And to those people, if you are still out there, if you're still watching or have me on social media or whatever, I genuinely apologize, because I understand what I was like back then, and I'm able to see it from the outside looking in. And if you were ever positive to me or ever supported me in any way, I would like to apologize, because that's not who I am, and that's not who I should have been back then.
Right. I see where you're coming from as far as that goes.
Right.
But I do gotta say, the single best thing that came out of Final Fantasy VII Remake is our relationship. Really. Like, it wasn't until the whole fallout from 7R that we really started, like, talking and stuff,
Right.
Because you kind of like got ostracized, and I kind of like was like, nah, fuck them. And that's kind of where our relationship started.
Well, and it's funny because when I think like we met in Ultima and we were both doing some shit talking in there, and then we both just like mutually, I think we were also in Square posting together.
Yeah.
And we just kind of mutually saw each other's posts and was like talking, and then eventually we just started becoming friends or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's funny that like the fact that we were shitting on the same game is why we're friends now.
Yeah. And hatred brings people together.
Right. And it's funny because like I wouldn't say that either one of us are like toxic.
No,
I would say we probably have our toxic moments.
Yeah,
but everybody does.
Swamp every now and then,
right? But it's like, I feel like, and this is really going to transition into the next topic that we're doing. But
yeah,
I feel like sometimes it's okay to vent as long as you vent in a healthy way.
Yeah,
which brings us to our next topic: social media and the culture behind it.
Yeah. Toxic social media culture, and the fact that it's completely off the rails and there's no repercussions for anything anymore. I don't know if there was any repercussions for anything ever online.
Well, I think really, there has and there hasn't been. You've had people that get reported to the authorities and they end up get taking into custody, or they do end up getting lawsuits, or they do end up losing their accounts or whatever. But
it's usually only like hardcore racism,
right?
Or like threats on people's like livelihood and stuff.
Right.
That's usually the only time that they'll actually like pursue anything. But honestly, like I was kind of talking to you before the stream, and that's kind of why we added this kind of topic into it. But there's a I don't know, YouTuber, I guess, would you call him? David
Content
Vink,
creator.
Yeah, content creator. There you go. David.
Just so we're clear, I used to call myself a YouTuber, and I still do every once in a while.
I don't really like that term.
I feel like it's a derogatory term now, because I was going back and forth in my comments section today with somebody, and they're like, "Oh, this YouTuber, Soldier First Class," and it's like, you're definitely using that in a negative connotation, and I don't like your fucking attitude.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, don't fucking do that. Don't be like, "Oh, that YouTuber." That's not who the fuck I am. Please don't do that.
Stupid fucking YouTuber.
Yeah, like, god damn it. Just stop using that as a derogatory term. You're oh, do you want me to just be like, "Well, that fucking commenter, blah, blah, blah." No, I'm not going to do that. Just fucking stop.
The Twitterer.
Yeah.
The Twittering.
The tweeter.
But anyways, he's a content creator that I really respect and enjoy his content. David Vink, or I think he goes by David Vink JRPGs now, or something like that.
Shout out to David. He's fucking awesome.
Absolute fucking legend, that guy is.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't know I exist, but
he knows I exist.
Yeah, I know. He follows you on Twitter. But he gets so much fucking hate mail. Like, so for those of you that don't know, he is a absolutely jacked gay dude, and like the nicest fucking guy ever.
Jacked as fuck.
Jacked as fuck.
He is over the age of 40, and he makes both of us look like bitches. Like,
oh yeah,
holy fuck, is this dude jacked?
And this dude gets the most ridiculous, horrible, horrendous fucking hate mail. Like, if you follow him on Twitter, he'll post every now and then like the comments and stuff he gets, and he'll be like, "You guys tell me to ignore nasty comments, but this is the kind of stuff I'm getting," and it's just like fucking horrendous shit. And like, I don't know how people aren't getting charged with like harassment, hate speech. Like, there's got to be something. Like, I'm all for public like freedom.
Hanging.
No, like public freedom. Like, you should be able to say what you want as long as you're not fucking ruining people's lives. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, sticks and stones may hurt my bones, whatever the fuck. Cocks and balls impress me. But but like there's a point where it's like it's not funny anymore. There's a point where it's like, yeah, you're only doing this to be harmful. You're doing this out of hatred for somebody just because they're gay. Like, anytime at least make fun of somebody for a choice they made. You know what I mean? Like, like Kingdom Hearts fans, for example, we bring them up all the time. Like
Final Fantasy VII fans.
Final Fantasy VII fans. People rip
the bad kind. Just to clarify, the bad Final Fantasy VII fans, not all Final Fantasy VII fans.
If you're going to make fun of somebody, make fun of somebody for something they chose, you know, and like,
people that lick toilet seats for views.
Yeah, make fun of those guys.
Yeah,
but don't fucking threaten their lives either. You know what I mean?
Don't threaten their lives or their jobs, like, or their families. Like,
exactly.
Who was it? Oh, Laura Bailey, the voice actress. Sorry, she played Abby in The Last of Us 2. People were threatening her newborn son.
That's fucked. The Mary Jane stuff, too, from one of the Spider-Man games.
Like, dude, when did we get into a society where it is okay to sit there and threaten a baby? For fuck's sake. Like, me and my friend Ray Kaufman, shout out to Ray.
That baby would probably fuck him up, though, for real.
All the time are like, we wish that some of these people that comment or tweet or whatever, any time that they tweet shit like that you are allowed to find out where they live and punch them right in the fucking mouth for everything they say.
Like Jay and Silent Bob Strike.
Yeah.
Was it Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
They like hunt down everyone on the message board and ding the doorbell. They answer the door. They just punch them in the fucking face.
That's what you should be able to do. Is just fucking
That's what you should punch be able to do.
Because everybody likes to talk shit. They're fucking keyboard warriors until you punch them in the fucking cock holster. And you're like
in the cock hole.
And you're like, dude, what the fuck? I actually sent you a meme a while back, and it's a UFC belt, and instead of it saying UFC, it's a keyboard.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
and it's like these fucking keyboard warriors are so ridiculous anymore.
Because they've gone for so long now unchecked. Like keep in mind now, there's a whole generation of people that have not known the world before the internet. Right. And I think that's why it's gotten so bad, is because people think they can just say whatever they want.
And COVID lockdown.
To anyone all the time.
COVID lockdown, too.
Yeah.
I think it got worse over COVID lockdown, if I'm being honest.
I think so. I think it did. Yeah. But it's like, it's because people don't have to take any, have any repercussions for what they say and do online. And, I don't think it should be. I think there needs to be. Like I said, I think the internet should be a free place. Like the day the internet isn't a free place will be a fucking horrible day. And I know there are like countries and stuff. Like I know obviously China, it's fucking not. But like even here in Canada, like they've done a lot of things where they've tried to lock down the internet. Like
they've tried it here too.
Did they? Because it was like, oh man, I want to say it was like quite a long time ago now, but. One of the political parties here wanted to divvy up the internet like cable subscriptions. So this was before streaming was even a thing. Like Netflix didn't exist or anything like this. But they wanted to do like the Google package, gives you access to websites like Google.
Right.
YouTube,
I believe they tried to do that here.
And it's like, could you fucking imagine how horrible that would have been? Like stuff like that. The internet needs to remain free. But they also need to start making laws, I think, to protect people on the internet.
Right. Well, and my thing is like, the nature of the internet is rooted in anonymity. Like, you can say whatever you want because you can hide behind a profile picture that's not even you. You can hide behind a name that's not even you. Like, usernames are... I mean, nobody knows who fucking buttfucker97 is because that's obviously not your real name. You're fucking...
What if it is?
Your fucking guy out there. Cloud or Tifa profile picture hides who you really are. So you're not... all these horrible, disgusting fucking things that you say and do just go completely on whatever because nobody knows who you are. But if your workplace could get on your social media and see the things you post, you'd be fucked.
But at the same time, I don't agree with that either. I think it's got to be like a law, like a police. There's got to be an online police,
right?
Because workplace, whatever. You know, the things me and you are saying on this podcast right now would get us fired from our jobs. Probably.
Fair enough, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just your professional life as a worker at a job that you like pretend to be somebody else at basically all day,
right?
And your real life are two separate things. But you online, like you can't treat people like that, and you've got to be fucked in the head or not. I think a lot of it is like people projecting, like it's people that like straight up are not comfortable with themselves because this is how it is in the real world too. If people are like generally people that are assholes and hate someone for being gay or trans or whatever, they're generally uncomfortable with themselves and their own sexuality, and that's why they're so like. They're so shielded against that stuff, right? Like, one of my friends on Facebook, mentioned the whole like there's like this gay trope where like if like you're gay, if a gay person comes out to a straight guy and the straight guy's like, I'm not into that stuff, and it's like that's not why I came out to you. Like,
right.
Like, I'm not interested in you. I'm just telling you that
you're my friend, so I thought I could trust you with this information, right?
Yeah. It's like, it's people that are like uncomfortable with themselves and don't want to like either work on themselves or just be more comfortable with themselves or sit with themselves. And like, there's a bit of self-hatred, I think, is where a lot of this spawns from, honestly. But those people they have no right to treat people like this.
Well, I think another thing of it is too is like they're miserable in their life. There's something in their life that they're lacking, and it's like, okay, so since we were talking about Final Fantasy VII earlier, this is a perfect time to bring up what happened earlier today and maybe yesterday too. Kazushige Nojima, the writer for a lot of your favorite Final Fantasies, a lot of my favorite Final Fantasies, is still working on the Final Fantasy VII Remake project, and Jesse obviously dies in Remake and in the original game, and there's this guy, Gyrus, that was online with several accounts on Twitter, and was like tweeting at Nojima about how he needed to bring Jesse back to life, and how like he needed to respect Jesse as a character better, and all this other stuff. Just crazy shit, right?
We all thought Jesse was a dude until 4 years ago.
Yeah. Well, then it escalated into he literally sent like a tweet to Nojima saying that the Yakuza had been called, that they had already been paid, they knew where he lived, they knew what to do, they were going to take him out if he didn't do this for this guy, if he didn't put Jesse back in the game and whatever. It's a fucking video game, bro. It's a goddamn fake woman in a video game. Calm your fucking shit, dude.
Who I swear used to be a dude.
Needs to
did
fucking
you think
get
Jesse
help.
Did you think Jesse was a dude in the first game?
No, I just assumed Jesse was a girl's name.
Dude, one of the kids I went to school with was Jesse.
I know. There were guys named Jesse, but for whatever reason back then I just associated Jesse with a girl's name. So that's where I went with it. But like I could see where you would not think that. But anyway, it's like you are taking a character and you're making that character that does not exist more important than the life of someone that does exist.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like,
also, the Yakuza doesn't work like that.
Right.
So this guy's probably not Japanese, like, at all.
No, he's not. But it's like, dude, you are not. And the good thing is, after this whole Yakuza threat went through, Nojima actually asked for help in getting, like, screenshots or whatever of the post.
Okay,
and everything else, and I believe turned it into the Japanese authorities. And I hope that he did.
I really hope something happens with
I hope something happens too, because you know what? People need to realize that there are fucking consequences for your actions, and it needs to stop. It needs to fucking stop. And if somebody sees that the shit they say can cause them to be in trouble, then they need
this stuff will start getting dialed.
Then maybe stuff will start getting better, because
and honestly, we need example cases. Like we need it where like, okay, fuck you, jail time. Like, you know what I mean? Like we need internet laws, and we need them to make example of people's.
And the other thing is too is like, dude, this person clearly needs help.
Oh, absolutely.
Like clearly needs some kind of psychiatric intervention for their behavior.
At that point, yeah.
And it's like, I'm all for freedom of speech. I'm all for freedom on the internet, but there is a line, and you literally threatening to call a mafia-like body of whatever you want to call it, like the Yakuza, like the mafia, like the mob, whatever you want to call it, is stupid as fuck. And to threaten,
there's no way it's true, but
you need
to
stop. Like, just don't go that far. Don't threaten anybody's life.
Leave people alone.
If anything, just don't buy the fucking game.
Yeah.
Play the original.
That's what we're doing, right?
Right. I know. Wait, I just fucking said that, didn't I? I said if you don't like it, play the original. Oh God.
So
it's happening.
The reason I was smiling during that whole segment is because now when I think of Jesse in original Final Fantasy VII, did you ever see the Secret of Mana? Like they did like the remastery collection.
Yeah.
The collection of Mana. And like it's kind of like 3D, like the character models were 3D. So the main character from Secret of Mana looks like fucking Jesse from Final Fantasy VII. Like that, like the hair, like that. Oh my God. That's how I saw her back then. That's why I thought it was a dude, man.
You know, the other thing about social media too is just how fake it is. Because like you have all these people that get into these
influencers, man.
Yeah.
They're so fake.
Yeah. It's like,
oh, it's brutal. And people eat that shit up, unfortunately.
They do. It's like...
That's another thing that needs to change. But I mean, at least that's not hurting anybody, really.
Right.
It's just
Well,
cringy.
it's just stupid because, like, social media culture, it just has all these different facets of how it works. And it's just like...
The grift is real.
Really. And it's...
that shit too, man.
It sucks because, like...
And there's still, like, no consequences for a lot of the grifting, too. Like,
yeah.
Look at Logan Paul. That guy should be fucking behind bars for...
Right.
Like, if it was the government he scammed instead of, like, a shit ton of people, he'd be behind bars.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's crazy, dude.
Well, and it's like, you know, you see things like, okay, Logan Paul and Jake Paul boxing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they couldn't be legitimate boxers, but they're fighting guys that are fucking... that aren't particularly boxers, and when they do fight boxers, they get fucked up. Like, okay, Tyron Woodley's a wrestler.
Yeah, exactly.
Ben Askren, wrestler.
Absolute wrestler.
The other guys they're fighting
at all.
The other guys they're fighting are like over the hill MMA guys that don't mean anything.
Late 40s, dude.
And it's so fake. And you often wonder, and because of the fakeness of the internet, you have to wonder, like, did Tyron Woodley get knocked out for a $5 million paycheck?
Well, exactly.
You know what I mean? Because those guys are all making money off these fights, and the more money they make for the big names that they fight, and then everybody wants to see these guys lose because everybody fucking hates them, and they know that everybody hates them.
It's the Mayweather method, right? Like that's why Mayweather made so much money because everybody hated him and wanted. Because
it's like you want to see these guys lose, so you pay money to watch their pay-per-views, and even though you hate them so much, you pay to see them fight because you want them to lose. And it's the fakeness of it, dude. It's like you think that it's fake. You think that they're having people throw fights, but you're still going to watch anyway on the off chance that it's real and they get knocked out. And that's how people make their money, off of fake bullshit. And people give fake opinions. They think that companies are going to just hand them everything.
Scams, all that shit.
It's like all these fucking content creators that make stuff about video games, right? And then they suck off everything a company does because that company gives them review codes. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
I made fucking meme videos about Final Fantasy 7 Remake and talked all the shit in the world about that fucking game, and that company still gave me a code for Final Fantasy 16. So you don't have to be a fucking ass kiss all the time. You don't have
to ride the dick all the time.
You don't have to be fake. You don't have to be whatever. You can be real and still get those opportunities because at the end of the day, they're a fucking business. And if you drive traffic to their company and your channel, they will sponsor you. That is the whole point. They are a fucking business. They don't care about your fucking feelings. They want to make money. And if you make them money, they will give you shit. I don't care what it is. I was a no-name motherfucker, and somebody wanted to give me a free projector to try out on my channel, and I've never talked about projectors on my channel ever. But because I had over 20,000 subscribers at the time, they wanted to work with me. They didn't give a fuck what I said in videos. They didn't give a fuck what my content was about, because clearly it has nothing to do with Final Fantasy for me to have a projector.
Did you get the projector?
No, I turned it down.
Son of a bitch!
I know. Raid Shadow Legends wanted to fucking sponsor me. And granted,
they always send me fucking shit.
I turned down $2,000 from Raid to not do the fucking thing because I didn't want to be scummy.
Raid Shadow Legends start now for free.
Right.
Fuck! We just did that without making $2,000.
Right.
Why?
I didn't want to take their money because I did not want that type of image.
To promote that kind of a game.
Right. I didn't want to promote that image on my channel.
Dude, I get offers
you
from
don't and I just want to say, I'm not saying anything bad about people that take the money, because get the fucking bag. I totally 100% support you in that decision.
But be authentic at the same time.
But, like, you have all these people that say, I play Raid Shadow Legends every day. No, you fucking don't. No, you don't. Nobody does. Like,
nobody plays Raid Shadow Legends.
Like, yeah, it is one of the biggest games in the world, and I get that, whatever.
Is it though, or is that what
most of the people? I've never played Raid Shadow Legends a fucking day in my life.
I don't know anyone who's played Raid Shadow Legends.
I would have to literally download the game to be able to film anything on it from my phone, right?
Yeah.
But they were going to offer me $2,000 and be like, oh, here's blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm like, I don't fucking know anything about this.
Yeah. Or care about it.
But it's because they're a company and they saw my numbers at the time and they're we have an opportunity to pay you to do this. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's not, I didn't care about the money. Granted, I would love to have had $2,000, but I didn't care about the money at the time because I'm like, I'm making good money on my videos. I'm doing the videos I want to do, and I don't have to fill them with a bunch of ads. Because usually when people start doing a bunch of ads, they start losing viewers and subscribers because they're like,
you just skip the ad anyways.
They're like, you're a sell. Well, it's in video ad, so it would be
that's what I mean. But like you hit the 10-second or 30-second button,
and it's like
times.
I just,
or if it's an old video, you see the wave of like where everybody clicks to. You ever do that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's so funny, dude.
Like the most replayed.
I've had offers. And one of these days I'm going to take them up because there's that Star Trek mobile game. I think it's like Fleet Command or something. Yeah. It looks like a cool game. Like I'm a huge Star Trek fan, but I just don't play mobile games. So maybe someday I'll take them up on the offer, but I'm not going to fucking stream it. I don't know how I would make a fun stream playing a cell phone
usually
game.
Their offer is like you do an entire like 5-minute video on something, or you do like a 60-second ad, like a red ad through your channel, or it's like maybe you'd stream and play like an ad for it on your stream or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But it's like I don't know.
Star Trek Fleet Command, start now.
I've never taken a sponsorship that wasn't like a review code.
I'm just giving out free sponsorships right now.
Like, okay, so
free promos, baby.
Funny story. So First Soldier came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had no interest in that fucking game whatsoever.
First Soldier, start now.
But because I was, well, no, because it's dead.
It's canceled.
Yeah. I was on their creators list for Square Enix, and they sent me a creator box, and it had my name engraved on a metal card on the inside. It was one of a kind for me. Like obviously other creators got one, but it was with my username on it. So
was there loot? Like real life loot?
There was stuff in it, yeah.
I should have taken it.
I did.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, they emailed me and they're like, hey, do you want this? Like, we know you're retired, but do you want this? And I was like, no, it's okay. You guys can, just give it to somebody else. And they're like, well, your name's on it. And I'm like, well, just take it off. They're like, no, it's like on it. And I was like, oh, sure, I'll take it. So I took it, right?
That's cool.
But it's like, I just never took anything sponsorship-wise because, number one, I don't like running ads on my fucking videos. Like, it just felt disingenuous a little bit.
I do feel like
because I don't play those games, right? Like, I just don't.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lie to my viewership about playing them.
Yeah. I do feel like Square Enix treats its like content creators or whatever really well. Like,
it does.
They've been like sending them out to like I know David Vink. They've been and Unaleska. They like send them out to these like big fucking events and shit.
Right.
That's really good.
The problem is
now if only their games, if only their game quality would.
The problem I have though is that I am not going to kiss a company's ass for special privileges, and that's one thing I can say about Square Enix with my relationship with them. I love the people that work there. Yeah. Like, I've made friends with several of them. Like, I'm still in contact with some of them. Like, they have some of the best people I've ever met that work there. They're obviously separate from the developers and how I feel about, like, the games and stuff. And, like, I always want to say that when I talk about Square Enix, I'm not talking about the people that are behind the scenes that have nothing to actually do with the development of the game.
Yeah.
I love those people. I absolutely love all of them. They've been fucking incredible. I've never had a bad thing to say about any of them. I've taken pictures with them at events. Like, they're good people. And so when I talk about Square Enix, I'm not talking about those people. Those people are great. And it's like, I'm conflicted because I don't want to talk poorly about the company
because they've treated you so well.
Because they've treated me so well, but I am going to point out their flaws.
Yeah, in their games.
In their games. And it's so hard for me because I understand why people don't want to talk about the flaws in their games because they feel like they're hurting the people that they know. But you have to separate business
the
from
product from
personal.
Yeah.
And even though your personal connections got you those connections business-wise, those people are also professionals, and they know that when you're talking about stuff, you're not talking about them.
Yeah. Well, it's like if your friend worked at a company and their company sucked ass. Like that's a fucking terrible way to word it. That's like if like I sell insurance, right?
Right.
It's like if you were looking for insurance and our rates were absolute dog shit. And it's like you want to support your friends, but at the same time, if you can pay like half and get the same amount of coverage elsewhere, like I'm not going to blame you for doing that at all.
You just work there. You're not like
exactly
right. And that's the thing too. Like I've had people try to cancel me and say, "Oh, well, Square Enix, you're going to talk bad about Square Enix. They should never work with you again." I'm not working with Nomura. I'm not working with Kitase. Exactly. I'm working with the Neil Pabones of the world that worked there. I'm working with the Jareks that worked there. Like
exactly.
I'm working with those people.
Like the marketing team.
The marketing team, the social media teams, like I'm working with those people.
The events coordinators and like those kind of guys.
And those people are all great. And I'm not saying Nomura's a bad guy. I'm not saying Kitase's a bad guy. He's probably a great guy.
Weird ass games.
I just don't agree with his storytelling or anything like that. I'm sure I could sit down and have a beer with him or smoke a joint with him, which probably is how he comes up with his stuff. But anyway, like I could hang out with these people, and it sucks because you don't want to criticize somebody's life work, but you have to.
Yeah.
At some point,
if it's something
you have
don't
to.
Enjoy, it's there's no point lying.
And that's what social media culture doesn't understand. Like all this virtue signaling, all this like cancellation culture, all this bullshit. Like it's not about political affiliation or anything like that. Because I could give a fuck less about that. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. I'm not political as a person. Mm-hmm. I just want to be treated fairly. I want
people to treat other people fairly as well.
And so, like, that's what I really hate about social media is, like, so today, I was talking about the Rebirth demo, I was talking about the Intermission DLC, and it was the first time in years that I feel like I've been able to talk about 7R and not feel attacked. And it felt great. It felt like people actually were hearing what I had to say. And a lot of that's probably because I've blocked all the toxicity out. I've muted words. I've muted like the people that were horrible to me, and I've left.
But I haven't seen anything nasty. Like, because would I be able to see that if I was looking?
You'd be able to see it.
Yeah, I didn't really see anything like that. But I think honestly, like I said, every single person I know in real life that loved Final Fantasy VII didn't like Remake. At the end, once they finally finished it, some of them didn't even finish it, man. Like one of my best friends, Finney, he loves Final Fantasy VII. Like growing up, that was his game all the time. He would say that was his number one game, and I think still to this day, actually, it's probably Stardew Valley now, but it was Final Fantasy VII for years and years, and he couldn't even bring himself to finish the damn thing. My buddy Mike, DG Online, huge Final Fantasy VII fan. And to this day, it's probably his favorite game of all time. And he finished it, but he was like, so when you told your story of how when you finished, I can't remember, what did you say? When you finished the game, like you saw the ending, what did you say there? I can't remember what you said.
When I saw the ending, I had to sit on it for about a week. And I wasn't sure how the world was going to react to what I had just seen.
Okay. So this is what my buddy Mike did, okay? So similar upbringing as far as the game goes and nostalgia and growing up with Final Fantasy VII and it being his favorite game as you, right?
Right.
This was his reaction the moment the ending happened. He grabbed his controller. He went to the menu. He hit options on the game. He hit down a couple times and went, delete game. Like he just like sat there like, what the fuck was that? And uninstall like immediately. Like that was his reaction. And this is a guy that his entire life, like these are people that are my best friends, and we've argued for years that I've argued Final Fantasy VII isn't that great, and they've argued, well, it's the best in the series, despite the fact that I've never played any other game in the series. And like that was like an argument growing up all the time with these people, and one of them didn't finish the game. The other didn't. The other deleted it immediately upon completion and said, "What the fuck was that?" My other friend that loves it, he pirated it. He beat it, but he pirated it, and it was like, man, I'm glad I pirated that. So it's like, yeah,
I think
I'm 0 for 4 right now when it comes to like friends that loved Final Fantasy VII that liked 7R.
So I don't know how much the developers pay attention to the fan base. I know they do, but I don't know to the degree that they do.
If Square Enix does,
because they keep saying in interviews that the response to what they did is going the way they expected, and they're excited because of the way it went and how the fan base feels. So to me, that feels that the control group that they've seen enjoy the game, right?
Like, are they surrounding themselves with like yes men though?
See, that's what I wonder. Like, are you seeing it from the perspective of all the people that we see like it, or are you actually like going on Twitter and seeing, yeah, okay, these people like it, these people don't, blah blah blah? Because
Twitter's the best place.
The way they see it,
gauge that, but
everything they've done so far has been a positive. But I go into like social media groups, Twitter, Facebook, etc., and it seems like, I will say that there is a lot of people that like it, and every time
I'd say it's 50-50.
There's just as many people that don't.
But when you have a game that you marketed as a remake of this game that a giant fucking group of people love, and it feels like a cash grab, man. You call it remake, it's not a remake, it's not the full game. All these people buy it, right? So all these people that loved the game, the original, bought it because guess what? That's what they thought it was. Well, now, guess what? At least half of those people did not like it. Some of these people might not even buy the sequel. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and the other thing is like, okay, I would say that I would almost say that there's more people that are undecided on how they feel than that like it or don't like it. Because I've seen a lot of people, and I mean a lot, that will say, I want to wait until the series is over before I make my judgment, or I want to see.
I can understand that.
Or I want to see what they do with this scene before I make my judgment. And on that, I kind of get it, because like, look at me. I'm like, if they fuck up City of the Ancients with Aerith, that's going to be my tipping point. That is where I'm like, nope, we're done here. Like, I'm cashed out. I'm out, like, permanently, because that's the crux of the Final Fantasy VII story. Like, that is where, in the original story, that's the tipping point.
The big turning point, yeah.
The big turning point in the story is right there.
But, so, when you just said, fuck. And when I said I can get behind that, I didn't mean I can get behind the people that are, like, undecided. I want to see where this goes, so I'm going to continue to buy $70 fucking partial games every fucking 4 years. I mean, I can get behind the fact that I'm not going to spend a fucking dime on this game until it's all out and I can play the whole damn thing. Those are the people I can get behind. I don't know how many people there are like that, but it's like,
there are a few, but I think more what I was saying was like, they're going to wait for a specific moment in the game that they're looking forward to.
They're going to keep playing. But I think that's a part of why they're fucking doing a fucking, here's a little fucking sliver of the game for $70, because they know people are just going to keep buying it until they fuck up so bad. So they're just going to keep fucking delaying those parts of the game. Like, they've got you wrapped around their coffin.
That's what I don't understand what's going to happen with the last part, because if we have all 3 continents in the game besides the North Crater, what is the third game gonna be? If it ends at City of the Ancients, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
it's gonna be a snowboarding.
Yeah, after City of the Ancients, you go through the mountain. You go through the mountains, and then like the game's not very much longer after that. Like,
yeah, it is weird that like disc 2 and 3 didn't have like a whole lot compared, but they were cutscene heavy. Hey, I think that's
right. I think it was the FMVs and the audio and stuff.
Oh, you know what they'll do, dude? They'll drag the fuck out of Diamond Weapon going to Midgar, and they'll just reuse assets from fucking R1.
It'll be Godzilla like. Actually, that'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool. But I thought it was Godzilla like in the original. But no, they'll fucking they'll go, because you got to go back to Midgar. Oh, let's make an entire game of Midgar
you know
again.
What? Actually, that's true. I forgot about going back to Midgar after.
Yeah, that'll be an entire fucking game. Like,
that'll
so
at least be 1 or 2 chapters.
Yeah. Speaking of, we got to hit this topic because it could be completely redundant 2 days or even before this podcast comes out. The whole Xbox thing, the rumors, the educated guesses, if you will, the speculation of Xbox going maybe software only, but also maybe releasing their exclusives on other platforms, including like Game Pass and stuff like that.
Right.
What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it'll happen? And do you think it'll be a positive for the gaming industry or a bad thing?
So
I think it's a bad thing if Xbox folds, because as much as I'm a Sony pony, as they say. I'm a PlayStation fan. I'm a Sega fan. At heart, I'm a Sega fan, but I'm a PlayStation fan. And I love PlayStation, but like, as any fucking company goes, if you don't have competition, you stagnate hard.
Look at EA.
Look at fucking pro wrestling, man. Pro wrestling was the best between like 1997 to like 1999, right? And then WCW went under, and it's kind of been shit ever since.
So this is a loaded question. I have a lot of thoughts on it.
Thought away.
It seems like they are trending towards being an online only,
like a
company
streaming service.
Like, yeah, like a streaming service for the most part. I don't know if that. I feel like, I don't know where I read this or if it's even true or not, but I feel like I read somewhere that consoles don't make them money, it's the software.
That's been true since the PS3, I think.
Right. So they don't make much money off the consoles, but it's the software they sell that makes them the most money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they have all these Game Pass subscriptions and they go to PlayStation's going to get a cut of that, but Microsoft will still make money.
Yeah, they'll expand their horizons by quite a bit. Well, this generation, I don't know, because there's not a lot of PS5s think out there.
Well, they actually just released a thing that says PS5s have sold 50 million and Xbox has sold like 23 million or something like that.
Yeah, but what was the PS4 at?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, like, I don't...
You also got to think, though, the PS4 didn't go through COVID either.
Yeah, but COVID should make you fucking want more. You know what I mean? Like,
chip shortage.
Yeah, I know, but there hasn't been one in fucking 3 years.
Well, that's why the PS5 sales have boomed.
Yeah, I know, but like, here's the thing, man. I am a huge PlayStation fan, okay? I love the PS1, I love the PS2, despite what fucking most people went for. I love the PS3. Like, most people were Xbox. That was the 360. That was the Xbox strongest generation by far.
Oh yeah, for sure.
More people at the start and for a very long time had Xbox 360s than they did PS3.
I did. I got an Xbox 360 before I got a PS3.
I got an Xbox 360 late last year. Like, I've been PlayStation like the whole time.
Really keeping up with the times there, bud.
Yeah, well, I needed to play those Burger King games, and I need to play Blue Dragon and
Lost Odyssey.
Lost Odyssey at some point. But like, it's not so much like I love PlayStation, don't get me wrong, but I hate Xbox. But as much as I hate Xbox, Xbox folding is a fucking terrible thing.
Yeah, I agree.
When it comes to consoles.
You can't let Sony and Nintendo run the market.
Well, and Nintendo's not even... I don't even see Nintendo as the same thing. It's almost a different thing now. Right? Like, PlayStation's not competing against Nintendo. Everyone who has a PlayStation also has a Switch. Everyone who has an Xbox probably also has a Switch. Like, the Switch is a great console. I hate Nintendo.
Yeah, I have a Switch, and I have a PS5 and a PS4. I don't have an Xbox Series X, but it's because I have PC Game Pass whenever I want it, so it's like, yeah, I don't need an Xbox.
That's the other thing with Xbox, is like, nobody's never really needed it. Because even, I remember they did that, what was it, Windows Gaming or whatever the fuck
which was called. The worst fucking thing ever.
Yeah, and that failed. So then they just started adding, you could access like Xbox Live, or a lot of Xbox games just came to PC after that.
So for me, I think it will drive a lot of traffic to Sony, obviously, because if there's only one console and you can get Xbox games on it, the PS5 is going to blow up.
Yeah, it is. But no, it won't, because there's no fucking games. But
that's what I'm saying. If Xbox games are coming to PlayStation, the people that have Xboxes are going to go out and buy PS5s.
Yeah, I guess.
So if you put Game Pass, or let's say you don't even put Game Pass, let's say you put Halo on PS5. Well, maybe not Starfield, but that game was ass. Anyway, but you put,
people probably
you put Halo, you put Forza, you put fucking the other Xbox exclusives, whatever they are. You put those all on PlayStation.
Actually, Forza's probably good.
Those Xbox people are going to migrate to PS5 and PS6 in the future.
So otherwise they would have just played it on PC, right?
Yeah,
they wouldn't have.
Or they're going to migrate to building PCs. Like, I have a PC, I have a PS5, Switch, everything. If you have the access to the games that you play exclusively on one console, and now they're exclusively on PlayStation, it's going to at least a third of your sales. It's going to go up at least a third, probably.
That's true.
So it's like, right now, if Xbox were to say, we're folding our console market, we're going to, in the next 3 years, we're going to transition to putting our games on PlayStation and PC and Switch, possibly, or whatever Nintendo's next console is, the Switch 2, I guess.
Dude, there's been so many rumors about the Switch 2, and then nothing, they're all like based on like almost nothing all the time.
But if they fold their console market, people are going to be driven to PS5 or PlayStation brand in general. So I think what we're going to see is either people are going to start investing more money in PC gaming or in PlayStation. The problem I have with this is that when you create a system that exclusively plays all of these games, that system they can charge for that system whatever they want, and people are going to pay it.
Yeah.
Like, they could raise...
It doesn't have... Well, I guess it kind of does have to improve, because it has to keep up with, like, the PC games that came out when that console came out, I guess, right?
Right.
But it's not... I don't know, man. Competition is healthy as fuck.
I agree.
You need it.
It's like... Okay, so this is an example sports fans will know. EA Sports.
Sports fans. Come on, sports fans. Like, I've never heard anyone actually say that.
EA Sports used to have competition with 2K when it came to the NFL. And 2K used to have competition when it came to basketball.
I see where you're going. Yeah.
MLB The Show used to have competition with 2K when it came to baseball.
And now I feel like half of them are like pulled out of both.
Now, 2K is basically exclusively
basketball.
EA does football, and Sony does baseball.
Yeah.
Well, now you start to see these sports games they're the same thing every year. They take features out and sell them to you 2 years later as new features.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of scummy practices like Ultimate Team, stuff like that, where you pay real money for in-game cards that you use to have players. Yeah. You have all of these different practices. The quality of the games is going down. The amount of money that you're paying for these games is going up. and there's no competition because everybody has exclusive rights to the licenses to do these games. And because of that, fans are left unhappy. The games are the same thing every year with minimal improvements, and you still have people spending $70 on these games to play them. Yeah. And the market is going to continue to go up. And the problem with that is that it's going to be the same thing with consoles. If you give Sony the ability to be the only console on the market, you're going you're
modern gen graphical and frame rate games.
Right. No matter what you say about Xbox being lesser than PlayStation when it comes to sales,
100%.
Like I said, is still competition. Yep. It is still going to drive PlayStation to do better and better every time. Mm-hmm. It's why we have these conferences where they talk about how good the other one is, because they are competition. And if you don't have that competition, you're destined to stop giving a fuck. And that's the problem I have if Xbox folds.
Think of how predatory like the next PlayStation could be on consumers, right?
I mean, look at how much.
And what are you going to do? You have no choice.
Look at how much the PlayStation 3 cost at launch.
Yeah, no doubt.
The PlayStation 6.
That's a big reason why Xbox was so successful too, right?
PlayStation 6, when it comes out, is going to be horrible if there is no Xbox.
Oh my god. PS5 was overpriced as fuck. I still don't own one because there's still no games.
It's true, there are no games, except for like a few.
Yeah. It's not worth buying, man.
Not yet, anyway.
We're at a weird place in gaming right now. I feel like we might be up for another crash, honestly.
I think it's coming. With AAA budgets the way they are and the lack of games on consoles, I agree.
How predatory like the games that aren't like super AAA are so predatory.
We need to get away from this games as a service bullshit.
100%.
Like
100%.
MMOs are fine, but then you have the Avengers. Like Destiny,
Chocobo Race or Chocobo GP, man. Oh my god,
Chocobo GP,
was awful. I was so excited for that game, dude.
I know, dude, and it's
I pre-ordered it. I was like getting like my group chat. Or like my Discord. We were gonna do like tournaments and all this stuff, and it was fucking horrible. I remember the day it came out. I played it on my lunch break, and I immediately went into my Discord. I was like, fucking nobody buy it. Don't buy this game. It's fucking garbage. And thankfully, like, I prevented a lot of people who were going to buy that game from buying it.
Yeah, it's like, I just wish that they would step back and be like, and go back to being consumer friendly again.
Yeah.
Because back in the day,
I honestly think we need a crash. There's enough games. I got a fucking big ass backlog. I'm fine with there being a gaming crash at this point.
Yeah, I mean, me too. If that's what it takes.
Yeah.
The only thing that I don't like about it is that if there's a gaming crash, good people are going to lose their jobs. We're already seeing it right now. And that's the other thing that makes me think a crash is coming. Even though these companies are making billions upon billions upon billions. In the, $80 to $90 billion range. I mean, Activision Blizzard literally just got bought for $70 billion by Microsoft. If that... You see all these people getting fired.
Getting fucked.
Yeah,
fucked.
Let's
put it what it really is.
Yeah, getting fucked. By the day at this point. Who's going to make these games that we want?
Yeah. But I think, here's the thing,
who's going to market the games that we want?
Nobody.
There's not going to be anybody there, and we're headed towards a crash. It's going to happen.
I think so. But I think, here's the thing. I think a lot of those guys, because the film industry is in a huge slump right now, right? And I think if the gaming industry crashed, I think a lot of like video game developers, directors, writers and stuff, like there's a lot of good stuff out there. It's just being preyed on by greedy CEOs and producers and stuff like that. I could see those guys getting into like CG TV series, CGI movies and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's good script writers out there.
God, I hope we don't have a Spirits Within too.
I hope we do. No, but like they could do good shit. Like Kojima is coming out with the new. He said he wants to do another tactical espionage action game, right?
Yeah.
and he's like, he was heartbroken because he's like, I've always wanted to do a movie, but like I feel like my home is in games. I know what I'm doing here. I'm accepted in this base. And it was, what's the guy's name? Guillermo del Toro. Wow.
Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, that guy. He said, Hideo, you basically are doing movies. Like, you're doing things with this this format of media that other people have never done before. Like, Kojima has blazed so many trails when it comes to storytelling and stories and like character development and stuff like that. That if the gaming industry crashed and he was like a quarter of the way through this tactical espionage action game, he could just easily pivot into a movie. You know what I mean? Like, there's guys that have so much talent in this industry, and it's being wasted already right now.
Yeah.
That I think a crash might actually push them into the limelight in another industry.
Right.
And it could save the movie and TV show industry.
Right. I was just talking about this with my wife the other day, and we'll probably start wrapping up here soon, but
yeah,
we were talking about this the other day about how tame everything is now. Like, everybody is so afraid to offend anybody, or everybody's got an agenda or anything like that. And that's why I think a lot of, like, I could give a fuck less to see any of the movies out there right now.
Same.
Like, everybody was...
the new what is it, Godzilla 01 or Godzilla
-1 or something like that?
Yeah, I want to see that. But
I do want to see that
thing.
But I think like American-based media right now has been in a giant
really
lull,
bad.
And it's because like, and this is not like me being sexist or anything like that, but look at that. Was it the Marvels or some shit like that, where it was like Miss Marvel and like Captain Marvel and like somebody else or whatever, and it was like an all-female cast or whatever, and it fucking bombed horribly, even though they put like millions and millions of dollars into it.
Yeah.
If you stopped predicating movies on the idea that you have an agenda behind it,
and like forced diversity,
most people would go and watch movies that had an all-female cast.
Exactly. Spice World. I think we
Spice
talked
World.
About
we talked about Spice World.
Podcast,
like,
man.
if you stop,
I
I get it. You have a message, but it's like we were talking with Remake earlier. Don't insult people's intelligence, because the problem now is that film and TV shows spoon feed you everything. They explain character motive.
They tell you what you should think about it too,
right?
In the fucking movie or before the movie.
Let people come to you, right? Don't force them to see your way. A lot of the big, like, cinematic movies and stuff like that, a lot of legendary movies had a message to tell you, but they didn't beat you over the head with it.
Exactly.
And that's why...
surrounded by good writing.
Like, and that's why you see a lot of this...
story.
That's why you see a lot of this back and forth on social media, because people are not wanting... Some people want to be pandered to. I get that. Some people don't want to be pandered to. They don't want to
form their own opinions.
Some people don't want to be
told what to think.
Right. Some people like to be told what to think. And back in the day, I mean, you had that, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is today. And it's like, make movies for the art form.
Yeah.
Make film for the art form. Make TV shows for the art form. Make video games for the art form.
To tell a story.
To tell a story. You can tell a story without forcing an ideal down somebody's throat. You can be subtle. You can leave hints. You can leave clues.
And I think that's why
leave people to interpret your movies, your TV shows, your games. Because if you don't, people are going to feel forced.
Yeah. And I think the reason like I don't want to say classic movies, but like movies in the past and series in the past felt so much stronger was because the stories were stronger. So the message hits stronger because you come to the conclusion and find the message on your own. You know what I mean? Like, you yourself find the message in the movie. The movie isn't saying, blah, blah, blah. Like, honestly, I want to say Spice World made fun of what modern movies are today, right? Because like they were like blah 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 girl power, like you know what I mean, like that was like they like made fun of that shit that ended up happening today back then, like it's and that was like the comedy bit, right, was like that kind of stuff, the over the top, like, and it's just like so many things like made fun of being told what to do and coming to your own conclusion, forming your own opinions is what makes the message stronger because you found that message. You didn't.
It's like
you took messages from it. Maybe the movie doesn't even have a fucking message at all, but you got lessons, you got morals, you got a great story. You met great characters with diverse, different fucking character tropes and different like situations and stuff that they had to evolve around and stuff like that. The person isn't great because they're a gay woman. They're great because it's a great character that maybe happens to be a gay woman. You know what I mean?
from
Sylvando from Dragon Quest XI is a fucking incredible character and was not just this shoehorned token gay guy that was thrown in there for representation. Like it's the fact, and it honestly all it is because it's forced. Anything that's forced isn't authentic, and then it's shit. That's what it is.
It's not natural, and it's like
it's not natural.
And it's like you look at for example, Final Fantasy VII. Let's go with that. Text, blocky characters. They had a message in the game, but they didn't beat you over the fucking head with it.
Exactly.
They literally were like, here's these characters, here's what they're going through, here's how you can relate to them, go. And it's like, you didn't relate to Cloud, right?
No.
I did.
Exactly.
So the message I got from Final Fantasy VII was about finding yourself, finding who you are, becoming who you're supposed to be, and in Cloud's case, it's saving the world. In my case, it was figuring out that I had a creative part of me that I had to let out, and that's what started this YouTube channel. And I got that message, but you didn't.
No.
You know? So it's like...
I still enjoyed the game, but not as much as you.
It was open to interpretation what the messages were, but Sakaguchi did say that he had messages he wanted to put out there, but he wanted you to find them. He literally said that. One of his interviews, he said, the theme of the game is love. I'd love for you to be able to find out why that's the theme and where it comes from. It wasn't like, yeah, the theme of the game is love, and Cloud and Aerith and Tifa all love each other, and blah, blah, blah. And yeah. And he's like, it's about loss and stuff like that. But he didn't beat you over the head with it and say, you're supposed to feel this way. You're supposed to think this way. He was literally like,
he's like, here. Yeah. Now he's doing this.
He's like, I want you to find the theme in the game, in the story I'm trying to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I find a lot of like Hollywood media now doesn't pull that off. They don't try to do that. They want you to know the message that they're going for
before the movie even comes out. They're fucking already doing that stuff. Here's the other thing: like you could take a classic movie. I hate calling them fucking classic movies. I'm talking like any movie like the year 2000, fucking 17 and older, basically. You could take any of those movies. Me and you could watch that movie. Me and 10 other people could watch that movie, all enjoy it for completely different reasons.
Right.
You know what I mean? You find what you like in the movie, and because it's not forcing these things. It's not forcing you to try and like it. Like it's just weird. But the one thing I do want to end on is this: the most important thing of all potential Final Fantasy VII Rebirth segments. All right, for you, it's the Aerith scene that could ruin it. All right, for me, it's two things. Okay, first, when Cait Sith fucking dies and then comes back 2 seconds later. See, this is again talking about the fucking things I like about Final Fantasy VII and the things that someone like you like about it, right? Like me, one of probably my favorite parts. These are my 2 favorite parts in Final Fantasy VII. When Cait Sith is like, "It's all right, guys. I'll risk my life for all of you," and the whole thing like collapses on him, and everyone's like, "Damn, he just did that." And then he's like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" Like 2 seconds later, he's perfectly fine. And then the second thing, the most important part in Final Fantasy VII that they can't fuck up in Rebirth is if you have Cait Sith in your party.
I knew, motherfucker.
If you have Cait Sith in your party when Aerith is dying, this is what you see in the background during that moment, okay? If they put that in it, fuck it. I'll buy it. I'll buy a PS5. I'll buy Final Fantasy Rebirth. If Cait Sith is dry hump in the air while Aerith is bleeding on the end of Sephiroth's fucking sword, I will buy a PS5 and I'll buy a Rebirth. God, I'll stream the whole thing.
I almost want to edit that scene into the podcast for the video version. Just so that people know exactly what you're talking about, because I almost guarantee that about 95% of Final Fantasy VII fans do not know about that.
I will give them props, though, because they did show in the trailer, was the Red 13 in the armor, the soldier armor
suit, yeah.
So we're getting fucking, I hope we get Marshmallow Suit Barrett.
You do.
And we get dog in a sailor suit going like this on the poop deck as well.
Actually, he's not in the dog isn't in the sailor suit. The dog is in the Shinra costume.
Yeah, he's in the Shinra costume in the trailer, but in the
in the original, he's in the Shinra costume too.
That's when he's doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was in the sailor suit at that point.
No.
Oh.
Only Barrett wears the sailor suit.
The Marshmallow Man, yeah.
Barrett's in the sailor suit again in Rebirth.
Did it show trailer, or it was in the?
Yeah, he was
demo?
in the trailer, I believe.
Oh. Okay. What did the demo? Oh man, we should end it. What did the demo show? Was it just
the flashback, just the calm flashback?
Oh, okay.
It was pretty dope too. Like,
so how did they incorporate the mini games into it, or that was the interlude?
Or
whatever.
There was there's a piano in Tifa's room that you can play.
Right, I did see that.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the only mini game in it. But
okay.
Yeah,
the dolphin shit.
The dolphin
like
looks
Wave Race
dope.
64. It looks good.
That's this is why I'm so torn, dog. I'm so torn.
I'm just gonna legally acquire it once it comes on PC.
Are you gonna be able to play it?
I don't know. I'm sure I can figure something out.
I don't know if your PC's gonna be able to handle it.
Minimum settings. Just get me to the dolphin races.
I don't know, dude.
Get me to the dolphin races.
When it comes to PC,
if Cait Sith is hump in the air, I'm getting it anyway.
It's probably gonna come in a year or two to PC, so it's gonna be rough to play on a.
Okay, guys, write Square Enix right now. If Cait Sith is dry hump in the air, while Aerith is bleeding out on Sephiroth's blade, I will buy a PS5 and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
You heard it here, folks. All right. Well, that's about it. That's all we got. We ended up talking about Final Fantasy VII for at least most of this episode.
Most of it, yeah.
But anyway, guys, you got any final thoughts?
None that the world would want to hear.
Okay, then. All right, guys. Thank you for listening slash watching.
Tag
on whatever platform you're on. Don't forget we're on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud for the time being, and YouTube. This has been episode 15, where we were going to talk about social media a lot more than we did, but here we are. Might as well call this the FF7R episode.
FF7R Xbox social media times.
But anyway, guys, I want to thank you all for listening to us rant like fucking idiots all the time. You guys are fucking awesome. But other than that, I think we're good. So unless you have anything else to add, I think we're good here.
Have a good one, guys.
Yep, I'm your co-host Alex, aka Soldier First Class.
And I am Corey, aka Dookie03.
And this has been The Gaming Effect, episode 15. See you later, guys.